you are already looking at the point slope form. I'm going to keep this up here just so people remember the terms. This is already point slope form. We'll talk about that at the end. Next to this, write down put an arrow underneath. We want standard form. That's not standard form right now. Anybody remember from last time how you get or what do you want for standard form? Say that again. We want, the way I'm going to put it, X and Y, same side. But what property do you have to take care of first? Take care of that first. Y plus 2 equals negative 3x. What is negative 3 times negative 1? Okay, we got rid of the parentheses. Are x and y on the same side? No. Let's take care of that. I need that 3x to be over here. The nice thing is that you're not really doing a whole lot of work. You're just moving things around. We want it in this order. Put the x first. That 3x can't combine with any of that. You just rewrite. What should come next? The y or the 2? We still have the 2 there. What's left on the right-hand side? We got 3. We're almost there. What needs to be moved still? We don't want that 2 there. We just want the x's and y's on that side. We are left with 3x plus y. This goes away. What's left over there? Just 1. What is that? That is what standard form considers. We're going to add a couple rules to this today. What's in front of the y? Put a 1 in there. Get in the habit of showing what's in front. What is that called? What are the 3 and the 1 called in front of the variables? What's that technical name for the number in front of the variable? A little bit louder? Coefficient. You want the coefficients there. We also want this to be positive. This is what we did not discuss the other day. So when you're done, if it's truly standard form, we want this to be positive. Also, it's got to be not a fraction. If we end up with a fraction, then we're going to have to get rid of it. But right now, is it positive? Is 3 a positive number? Okay. Is it a fraction? No? We're good. Yeah. That is standard form. That one, would you say, is pretty easy? You're going to have a couple of problems like that where all you have to do is move everything to the left side, that's an x and a y, move everything that's not an x and a y to the other side, you're done. That's standard form. But notice this. If fractions start to show up, then it's a little bit more difficult. Suppose you got this. If a fraction shows up in your original equation, we want to get rid of it. What part is the denominator in 5/3? Circle that. Circle the bottom part of your fraction. We want to get rid of that. How do you get rid of division by 3? What's the opposite of division by 3? Multiply. So we're going to do this. Put big parentheses and a big giant 3 over here. Put a big giant 3 over here. Why did I do that? I did that to do this. That gets rid of that 3. But whatever you do on this side, you also have to do on here. Now what we have is a bunch of distributed properties. What do you end up with on this side? If you do 3 times that.
3y minus 12.
This side, we're now left with 5 times x and 5 times 3. The point is to get rid of the fraction, get it out of the way. Now, we're still looking for standard form. What do we want x to be? We want it to be positive. So let's take a look. Is the 5 positive?
Yeah.
So I want to keep it there. I want to move this.
So the y can be negative.
Y can be negative. Y can be anything you want. We want the x1 to be positive. So if it's already positive, that means I'm going to move everything to this side. Start with that. We still want x and y on the same side. It just might be on the right side instead of the left side. This goes away. What's left on the left? What number's on the left? Negative 12. This side, you don't even have to combine anything. You just rewrite it. 5x minus 3y plus 15. Nothing is the same, so I can't combine it. We're almost there. You've got x and y on the same side, but what should I get rid of over here? How do you get rid of it? Minus 15. Notice I'm going to the opposite sides of my wall each time. You're left with 5x minus 3y equal to, what's negative 12 minus 15? Negative 27. You're done. Do you have x and y on the same side? Yes. Is this a positive number?
And no fractions.
And no fractions. No fraction, no fraction, no fraction. Look at the steps that we took. If you didn't have a fraction, you just moved x and y at the same side and made sure that this was positive. If you had a fraction, you got rid of it right away. We don't want the 3. Put a 3 there, put a 3 there. Do some distribution. What is that? We've been doing standard form. This is actually only good for us next year and the year after. That's why you're learning it, so that later on you can use matrices and matrix problems to solve even harder problems.
Matrix.
It will help you with physics, if you take a physics course. But you got to know what it is, and you got to know how to get to it. What helps us this year is the slope-intercept form. Put a big line there. Write down slope-intercept. When you see those two words, that's what we use on the calculator. Anytime we want to enter, we want to get y alone. What form do we call this? This is not slope-intercept. What's the top form up there? point slope. We'll do that last. Right now, this is your job. If it says slope intercept, what do?
Get what I want.
Is y by itself? No. And we also have this distributive property here. Get rid of the distributive property first. Take care of this. Take care of that. What's 1/3 times x?
130.
1/3 x. What about 1/3 times -6? What should you do with parentheses?
2, dude. 2.
And fractions. Put the 1/3 in parentheses. Multiply it by -6. Positive or negative?
Negative.
If you're not sure how to multiply 1/3 times -6, see me when everybody else is working on the rest of their worksheets. Do I care about the fraction? Not for slope intercept. I only care about the fraction
Standard form.
when I'm doing the standard form.
Here, do this.
So what's left to get y alone?
Get it subtract the 130.
I want y alone.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah,
Plus 5. Notice where I'm putting it. I put it here. Gone. What's left on the right-hand side? 1/3 times x. This is addition here. Positive 3. You are done. What was the point of that? Now I can put that in the calculator. Can you put 1/3 x plus 3 in and get a graph on the calculator? That's why we learned this. This is more important to us this year, but you got to learn all the different ways so that you can do this the following year after that, and maybe in physics class. Let's do the last one. Just do one. What if you don't even have an equation to start with? What if you've got
This one slope intercept.
nope. This is the most important one because you got to do this if you don't have the equation to start with. If you don't have the equation, you do point slope, and then you can move to the other two equations. Look at the name of this. What's the first word? Is this a point?
Yeah.
Then label it. Put XY down. What is this word? Slope. What letter goes with slope? M. Last class, I gave you a big formula to do point slope, and it looked like this. Y minus a box. Then we had another box. Then we had parentheses.
Good ball.
X minus another box. People who were here last class, what goes into each of those boxes?
4 goes Y. 4 goes to that first box.
Goes there?
And then the slope. The slope on 5, right there, 5, right there, bam.
What goes here?
You still put negatives.
What goes in that box? -2. It's different than the subtraction. The subtraction is part of the formula. You are going to use this so many times this year. Make sure that you memorize the ordering. You put y here, put your slope here, put your x here. It always starts with subtraction, but you're not going to see that as an answer. Why not? This y minus 4 looks good. This 5 looks good, but what's going to show up in the parentheses? X plus 2. If you have a negative being subtracted, change it to addition. that is more likely to show up on a multiple choice test than on your SOL test. That is considered point slope. You don't have to do the distributive property. That's considered point slope form. Now, if somebody asked you, can you change this into standard form?
Yes.
You follow the steps that we took. If somebody says change it to this form, where y is by itself, you can now do it. Mr. Gordon? Sure. Sure. Okay. Main office. I think they got something for you. Let's backtrack a little bit. If you don't have an equation, try to do point slope. Then you'll at least have an equation. If you have an equation and you want standard form, that means that you want x and y on the same side. You want your x to be positive, not a fraction. If you have a fraction, get rid of the bottom or the denominator by multiplying by that number on both sides. Got to be on both sides. Then, just try to make sure that the number in front of the x is positive. If it already is, don't move it. Turn your sheet over. Take out one sheet of loose leaf paper. I want all the work done on